Hi, today I'm here with Brandon Bachman to give his experience about getting his ISTQB certification and taking a course through a training provider. Hi, Brandon. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course, happy to be here.
So, Brandon, could you give us a little insight into your job and your background?
Sure. I had 10 years of software development experience, and then I stepped into a manager role of a software quality team about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. So I've been doing that for the last 3 years.
Awesome. So, you recently got your ISTQB Foundation Level certification, and what made you want to get this?
Yeah, I had looked into what trainings are available from a software quality perspective. I had been, like I said, I stepped into this role from software development background, not necessarily in the quality space. And so I've been on the lookout for things that I could do to improve my understanding of, what's being done in that space, how to effectively test things, how to, coach my team in, how they do their testing. And this was a course that was offered as part of the full day sessions at one of the STAR conferences. And so since I was going to the conference anyway, I decided that it might, be a good thing to sign up for and get some background on testing strategies and the test management process.
Yeah, that's great. So, how do you think that being ISTQB certified has helped your career since you've gotten the certification?
Yeah, I think it's given me, more knowledge to help drive process improvement within the team, and it's built a base that I can continue to grow with future certifications. I'm looking to potentially take test management to continue to grow in the management aspect of testing. And then my team actually has also taken the certification. I had a secondary training that I ran at our offices to help get them trained. And so now we all have like a shared footing, in the discussion around the testing process, which has really helped out
Yeah, that's great. And the universal understanding of different terminology, I'm sure, is helpful in that day to day.
for
So you
sure.
mentioned going to the conference and taking the course. Was it just going to the conference that made you want to take the course? And did it make the process of passing the exam like easy and straightforward?
Yeah. Yeah, I think part of it was, that it was offered while we were at the conference that we were already planning to attend. That definitely made it easier to sign up for. And, being in the vicinity already and available to take the course and having that time already set aside for an activity. But I think it was something that I'd already been looking into previously, so that wasn't the sole reason for taking the course. I think, if you look at the ISTQB series, they have a number of specialized certifications. This course is kind of the base for moving into those specializations like test management, like automation. And so those are things that, getting that more specific training would be beneficial, but getting the base course is, a predecessor to that. And so it was something I had been considering already.
Yeah.
Um, the the exam process was pretty straightforward. Like I said, we were at a conference and there was a testing center within walking distance. So we ended up taking it while we were out there. So we didn't have to, remember all of the stuff we were trained on after 2 more days of talks about everything else in the testing space. So that was nice being able to kind of knock it out pretty smoothly while we were there.
Yeah, so how was your experience with scheduling that exam? You said there was a test center close by. Was it
Hmm.
pretty straightforward and easy to do?
Yeah, you just sign up. We signed up online. You show up and they check you in, and then you have your, it's on a computer and you can move forward or backwards through the test, and you can, skip a question if you want to come back to it because it is timed. And so sometimes there's questions where like, this is going to take a while. Let me do this last. And then you submit it and you get your results pretty quickly. And so there's not like a agonizing wait to find out if you passed or not, which is nice. And so yeah, I felt like the exam process was pretty straightforward and simple to navigate.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure getting those results back immediately was probably pretty nice rather than waiting 2, 3 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So would you recommend others to use Coveros to getting their training for their ISTQB CTFL?
Yeah, yeah. So me and one of my employees took it through Coveros when we were there. We had Tauhida Parveen is our instructor. And then I also, the one that I hosted on site, I ran through them as well, where Jeff Pierce came out to our office for a few days and ran the training course for all my employees in person, which is great. I love being able to do trainings in person. I think it makes it a little more engaging. It's a lot easier to focus and stay engaged in the process. And it also, feels more comfortable asking questions, I feel like, in person than online, where you feel like you're interrupting a presentation more so than like an interactive training.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it's definitely easier to be learning when you're actually there opposed to online,
Mhm.
at least in my experience taking different courses. So you mentioned possibly getting one ISTQB certification in the future. Do you have like any date in mind or any other certifications that you're eyeballing now that you have your CTFL?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, test management's the one that'll probably be next for me. I'm Since I'm in the management space, it's the one that's most relevant to my role and will help me grow, within the work that I'm doing. Automation is another space that I've been pushing within my team, and so that would be another good one for me and other members of my team to pursue to be able to kind of get a shared understanding of how do we build automation into our process? How do we make it just a part of the things we do and not something that's sitting and waiting until we have free time, and stuff like that. So I feel like those are the two that are kind of at the front of my mind right now in terms of things that I'd want to pursue.
Yeah. And lastly, any tips for those wanting to get ISTQB certified?
Sure. I would say, the number one tip that I would give is use the practice tests. The practice tests are very, very well done in terms of showing you kind of how questions get asked, what types of areas to focus on, and where your strengths and weaknesses are, right? So when you go through a couple of practice tests, if you're like, okay, I got these 5 sections down, these 2 sections I'm struggling with, that gives you something to focus on. I would say the other thing is try to take it as soon after the training as you're comfortable. I had all of my team take it. They finished their training on Friday. They took the exam on Monday, I think is how I set it up. So they took it pretty quickly after, just to keep that knowledge fresh, and have it be easier to have that quick recall and not necessarily have to like dig deep and remember what happened a month ago when you were, trained on it. So I feel like taking it quickly after was beneficial to me and my team.
Yeah. Well, that's great advice. Thank you so much for your time today, Brandon. I'm sure
Oh,
people
thanks for having me.
appreciate hearing your perspective. Reassuring knowing there's different ways to get certified and train and all that different stuff. So,
All right. Well, thanks for having me and appreciate it.